Hey everybody, Kellen Cash here, sitting outer space, corona free, and I wanted to update a video that I did years ago on government contracting. Some may know my company is an 8A firm, Coleman Public Relations and Consulting firm. We are also, always looking into government options locally and federally and even internationally, especially anyone out there in Africa. Love to do some works out there. So I wanted to talk about when clients come to us and they say, hey, we want to do government contracting. I'm the type of business owner that I really care for whoever I take their money. It's a personal, thing to say, I want to help you improve. So this is information that I make a video like this. So you, as a person who might ask me for help, I can just share this video and tell it one time instead of saying it 100,000 times. I talk to a lot of people. That phone and email goes. So this first website, and all of these things are local and national, meaning there might be like a local chapter of SCORE. There's a local chapter of PTAC everywhere you go, and there's a local SBA, and all of these things are free. A lot of you will pay a consultant, even like myself, you'll want to pay a high amount of money for something that these government organizations will do for you for free. So I want to share this game because that's what we do. We share a game. Some of you guys know I have a podcast and a YouTube called Diversified Game, but this is on my Kellen Cash podcast and my Kellen Cash YouTube. Maybe I'll share it with both. Who knows? It won't hurt, right? As long as the information can help you be a better business owner, entrepreneur, family person, all that good stuff. So with that being said, this is SCORE. SCORE is, you can find a mentor on SCORE. You can take one of their workshops. You can browse their library. You can go inside SCORE and you can tell someone, hey, I really need help with a business plan. What used to happen, and I've lived in a lot of states, so I've, from the West Coast to the Kansas to New England to Texas and soon to be Florida, right? And I might be missing a place or two. Louisiana, let me not forget Louisiana, Grambling State, Harvard of the South. But with that, every place kind of has a different thing. So sometimes you can go to the SBA to go get a business plan. In Lubbock, Texas, when we lived there, the SBA did my business plan. When we moved to Seattle, SCORE helps you with some of your business plan. It depends on if your business plan is for banking, because the SBA has their own thing, or if it's just for, if it's for venture capital or if it's for whatever it's for. So it depends. And you have to talk to all these organizations to find out where your company and what you're looking for. So SBA, they can write business plans too. There's SBA, I call them guaranteed loans, because the SBA will give you up to 80% of what you're asking for. And I know at one point they capped it at $5 million unless it was a tech company. And if it was a tech company, it could go up. It might have gone up by now. I haven't had to use the SBA in that regard for a while. But the SBA has a guaranteed loan where they have a list of banks. You can go into those banks with your SBA loan that they've helped you put together, and that bank has to work with you. I'll be honest with you, a lot of the banks don't like dealing with the SBA. I've actually walked into a bank before and they say, SBA loan, we don't want to deal with it. And I said, really? They're like, yeah, we don't want to deal with it. The guy was just honest with me in Lubbock, Texas. I didn't come in with my cowboy hat, but yeah, he said, we don't want to deal with the SBA loan. And I was like, well, you kind of have to, but I don't necessarily want to deal with you if you don't want to deal with me. He's like, it takes too long. He's like, and that's why. And I said, you know what? Don't worry. I'm going to go elsewhere because there's no need to, I didn't know. I didn't know if the next bank next door would say yes. So I actually did. I went to the bank next door, and coincidentally, a church member of mine who, I actually sat next to in church. We would talk because the church was, we kind of stood out, Chocolate Brothers. And he told me the same thing. He was like, oh yeah, SBA, man, they're a headache. This is going to take 8 months, and you want to kind of get in this business and you want to sell it or get out, or, you might not even be here in 8 months in this state. And so he's like, yeah, he's like, I'll give you the money. He was like, based on everything you have in this plan, but I don't want to go through the SBA. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And because in my plan, I had it where I was going to pay back the bank in 3 months maximum. And I actually paid him sooner than that, if memory serves correct. So he gave me the money, but it was because I went through the steps of the SBA. And at the time, I was working 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, making a healthy size amount of money in the oil field of all things. And so the SBA, every time I'd be home, I'll go to the SBA, talk with them, get my plan. They'd give me some homework, tell me what I needed to do, be in the oil field, cushy job. I could, do double dip, get my stuff done. And by the time that I needed to, buy this truck that I was getting, this dump truck, I was able to do it. And I wanted to use the bank's money because I had the money, but I wanted to have reserve money. So, I took that money, put it in the bank, bought the truck, had the money, and it just worked out great on that side of things. But the SBA, I credit them. And at the time, Linda McMahon, WWF, you guys might know it now as WWE. I still say WWF. She had just taken over at that time of doing that. So the SBA, you need that. But right next door to the SBA in most places is SCORE. And again, SCORE is where sometimes if you call the SBA, they might send you to SCORE, because SCORE is going to have a workshop, an initial workshop. And I see these things as SBA and SCORE. You have to go through this initial workshop to get the help. Usually there are ways around that, but I just try to make it simple for the masses. And there's so many workshops. And again, there's national and then there's regional. And you might be in a city where they have, 2 offices, depending on how big or how busy. And there's a lot of stuff being done online now. So some of these initial workshops, maybe they can be done online during, the social distancing time. PTAC is the one that I had never heard of until coming to Washington and really getting deeper into the government stuff. I had been in government contracts for I don't know how many years, getting paid from them, but not knowing the ins, the outs, how the bids really work until I came to Washington. I would sit in meetings even when we lived in Massachusetts, but I didn't know how the bids work. I was just there, and I knew I was getting paid a good amount of money, and like, wow, like life is, good. You're young. You're like, man, this is a good amount of money, because it's a crazy amount of money that people spend in bidding in government. But PTAC, what they can show you are where the bids are. They can show you whether you're selling toilet paper, consulting services, healthcare services. I remember my wife, while she was going through med school and residency, and she's like, I can't wait for that big check. And I pulled out a bid for a $900,000 contract from the government, and said, all I need is a doctor for, 3 to 6 months. I said, this is the stuff that I want to go after, and there's not a physician out there practicing making that, and it kind of turned her business sense on of the possibilities out there. But PTAC, you can go sit in their office and they can show you the bids. And I've always had friendly PTAC folks who, you know, they will not just show you the bids, they'll download them, they'll email them to you, and they'll show you the ins and the outs of how things on FBO and all these other sites. And what it sounds like, I know, to someone who's brand new to this, like one website begots another website, begots another website. And that's kind of how it is, because when you're doing business, one relationship brings on another relationship that brings on another relationship if business is going well. And it's how do you massage and put those relationships together if you're successful. But, you know, there's so many things, bid match and resource. You just really got to play with this. And I don't want to go through it because, again, your PTAC, like let's say if I say PTAC Boca Raton, boom. And it might look different. I haven't checked this yet. And so you're getting it in just real time of what you can do. So as you see, looks totally different, and it's its own chapter. And even if you think that you know everything about PTAC and you're moving, relocating to a new city, or, you know, expanding, you want to go talk to these local people. When going to South Florida, I'm going to go talk to as many PTAC people and SBA and SCORE people as possible, because they have their pulse on what's going on in the city. They have their you know, ears to the street, and you need that in business. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short in their networking, because they might be like, oh, I want to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce, but, you know, I don't know, at a chamber meeting in all states that we've been in, I haven't always seen a SCORE representative or an SBA. They're kind of waiting for you to come to them. You know, it's like a church. They're waiting for, many of them waiting for you to come in. It's not too much street ministry going on, which personally, as a consultant, I'd love to have a contract with PTAC, SCORE, and SBA and be an ambassador for them. So I could do that and reach out, because that's part of my purpose, is to build businesses up and engage them. But, you know, let's speak that into existence in Jesus Christ's name. So this is the game I want to give you guys, that government contracting, you do have to learn. It's a learning process, and it's not one book that you can read that can teach you this. It's not one YouTube link, but it's you really doing the work. And it, you know, there's companies that will charge you thousands of dollars to do the same thing. But I'm giving this to you where you can go send your teenager, they can do this and report back to you. A cousin, a uncle and aunt, a college student, an intern, and they can report this stuff back to you. But I really think there's value too in the business owner going and making these relationships, so you learn, so you can teach the rest of your staff. And if you're too big to do that, again, find someone else to do it. You know, right now, these $1,000 phones, the body cams, we have like 3 of them, 3 different kinds. Attach that sucker right here, put the medallion on, whatever, whether it's in your glasses, boom. Get that information so you can then train your staff of this is how we do things, and this is who you might need to check in locally or even federally. You might have to call DC and say, hey, this is Kellen again. Just wanted to know, you know, heard that this RFP or RFQ is opened up. And these, you know, when I say RFQ, that's requests for, you know, questions, or RFP, requests for a proposal. And you need to know these things, because people will just, you know, spit out these you know, alphabets, and you'll be like, wait, what's that, what's that, what's that? You need to know what these are. So that's the game that I wanted to share. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any questions, I want to let you know the links in the descriptions are for you to do something with. I want you to get this, you know, get this game and really use it. If you need additional help, I try to make my hourly consulting just for an initial starter kit to get you to the next phase, which is not hourly, which is all package based. I try to make that where it's affordable for everybody. And I do mean everybody who's serious in business. So, you know, those links, you can click it. You have to pay your money ahead of time, and that time is reserved, but it's really to help because there's only so much you can give in a video, and everybody's learning curve is at a different place. And some folks love a coach. Some people love a trainer. That's why some of you went to school, because you needed the teacher, the professor, you needed that. That's why some of you guys pay the trainer, because you needed that person to get you to your physical fitness. And that's why in business, you need a consultant to really be that accountability partner. I can find out a quicker strategy, because you have one business and we've done hundreds, you know, thousands, hopefully tens of thousands. You know, that's how quick progress turns. And people, you know, they like to stay. So, you know, you find who fits your mold and who's in your tribe. So, and finding a system. We're big on systems. So that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be blessed. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and especially comment with any questions. And again, subscribe and share, because even if you say, yeah, this isn't for me, it's for someone you know, because business is the only thing that you can control. You can't control, you know, your job situation, but business, you have a better way of controlling if you find the right system, and you can pass that down. So I hope you guys stay around, stay tuned. Peace.